So we have begun to look at probability, and essentially probability is the chances of something happening. Okay, so some things are certain. For example, if we add 1 plus 1, we always get 2. That's 100% certainty. But there's other things that are uncertain. In fact, most things in life are not certain. Like we don't know for certain that something's going to happen. So this is where probability is very useful because it allows us to give us an idea of how certain some outcome would be. Okay, is it really certain? Is it close to 100% certain? Is it, not probable at all? Okay, so it's really important to be able to figure this out. And how we define probability then is the number of favorable outcomes to the total number of outcomes. So for example, if I want to find out the probability of flipping a coin and getting heads, okay, so we write it as P heads. Okay, the number of favorable outcomes, well, there's 1 heads and there's 2 possible outcomes. So then we say the probability of getting heads is 1 out of 2. If I want to roll a dice, okay, the certainty of getting a 6 is not certain, but we can work out the probability if the roll is 6. And this is, we use this ratio. There's 1 6, and then there's 6 possibilities when we roll. Okay, so the probability then we say is 1 out of 6. So we can express this probability or the likelihood of something happening as a decimal, as a fraction, or as a percentage. Okay, these are all very easy or very convenient and easy ways to express probability. So probability is really important. Okay, it allows us to make informed decisions of future events. So if we know that something is very likely to happen, we will plan accordingly. Whereas if we feel that that event is highly unlikely, then we would plan differently. So it affects our day-to-day decisions. So much of the work of developing probability theory was between Blaise Pascal and Pierre de Fermat. Basically, they were really interested in games of chance, okay, gambling games. And they talked a lot about, they had these lots of discussions about what is likely to happen and what is unlikely to happen, and it gave them advantages in playing these games of chance, or gave them advantages in gambling. A guy named Cardano, okay, he was a gambling addict, but he was a brilliant mathematician, and he based his games of chance or gambling on the ratio. Okay, he actually worked out what is the probability of something happening. Okay, so instead of working on a hunch or a guess, he actually knew the mathematical basis behind what the outcomes were supposed to be. So that's very important. That was very useful for him when he's gambling. So this is a very important field of study when it comes to gambling. Okay, many gamblers, they, good ones anyways, they probably have a very good sense of what the likelihood of certain outcomes are. Okay, for example, playing cards, rolling dice, etc. So they have a very good sense of what probabilities are, and then they're able to act accordingly based on those probabilities. So what I would like you to do is watch this video to introduce you to probability, and then we'll talk a little bit more about some other probability concepts.